Hi, I'm Dave, also known as 540Merlin's. If you've watched my videos, then you might know that the two daily driver cars I drive to work most days are a red 1970 Corvette that puts out about 700 horsepower and a red 1969 Camaro that puts out about 930 horsepower. One of the fringe benefits of driving a 700 plus horsepower red muscle car to and from work every day is that I get a lot of traffic tickets. Speeding tickets, excessive noise tickets, driving dangerously tickets, just because I happen to be there tickets, driving without a seatbelt on, failing to dim headlights, you name it, I get it, whether I deserve it or not. Now, that's a fringe benefit because I fight all these tickets, every one, and I've actually gotten pretty good at it now, so I'm going to tell you guys how to do it. The last 15 tickets in a row I have gotten off. I've had them dismissed in court, every single one. And that's what this video is about. Disputing traffic tickets. So here's the scene. And we've all done this. Cruising down a quiet stretch, Scott Road. And some guy in a Mustang Shelby GT500 pulls up beside you. And he's looking at you, thinking, 396 Camaro, maybe 375 horsepower, I'll wax this guy, right? So we can't have that. So you drop it down to the second gear, and you lay on the gas, and you leave about 500 feet of rubber, just to show a Mustang what a real Camaro will do. And sure as heck, the car right behind you is a cop. Pulls you over, you're busted. Gives you a ticket for speeding, excessive noise, dangerous driving, and you know, all that kind of stuff. Of course, he lets the Mustang go. I know we've all been there and done that. Let me tell you how to deal with it. Now, by disputing a ticket, I mean going to court to have the ticket dismissed. This is one of the most important parts of the whole process right here, which I never knew the first time I went to court. Judges determine who has the best case, not justice, not the truth. If you have a better case than the cop does, then you will probably get the ticket dismissed. That's the way I've gotten off the last 15 tickets in a row, is by going into court extremely well prepared so that I know more about the situation and the circumstances than the cop does. Police officers, by definition, are not the smartest people in the world. I'm not saying they're stupid, I'm just saying they're not the smartest people in the world. They're taught a standard procedure of what to do in court for every single ticket, and that's what they do. They follow it, okay? No brains involved, just a script. They won't remember you or your event or your ticket or the specifics. They'll only have what they wrote down in their notes, whereas of course it's a big deal to you, so you'll remember everything. With, of course, the notable exception of Constable Ken Hine, who clearly remembers me in every event I've been in. He's pulled me over I don't even know how many times. Alright, let me break this down into simple steps. First step, get a ticket. If you need help with that step, you're watching the wrong video. Step 2, take copious notes. Keep track of stuff like what the cop looked like. Was he white, Asian, black, tall, short, fat, dark hair, whatever, just to make sure that in court it's the same guy that shows up to dispute the ticket with you, because if it's not, you're off. The weather, whether it's raining or dry, dark, light, the visibility, whether he could see you, not see you, you know, that kind of stuff. The specifics of the event. How fast were you going? Were you making too much noise? How much rubber did you leave on the road? Anything that's relevant, the direction of travel, whether the cop was moving or stopped, in a car, not a car, police car, marked car, unmarked car, all of that kind of stuff. Keep track of all of it. Anything that might be relevant to assist you in disputing the ticket. If the police officer doesn't remember this stuff in court and you do, then it gives credibility to your case. It gives credibility to your case rather than the police officer's case, which is what you want. Step 3, dispute the ticket. The process is written on the back of the ticket. There's what you're supposed to do. There's a time limit. Where I live, it's 30 days, and you need to send it by mail to a certain address, which I have in my database at work. Make sure you do that, or otherwise you're not disputing the ticket. Step 4, when you get the notice that your court date has been assigned, request an adjournment. Okay, this will almost always be approved, and it will give you extra time before you lose your license or whatever. But it gives more time for the police officer to be transferred out of the country or to a different province or a different state, for him to lose his notes or forget or all of those kinds of things. And step 5, show up at the hearing date. In my experience, that's around here, my area, BC, Canada, it's about 15 months after the alleged offense. Now this is the procedure for the day you go to court. Step 1, read the ticket. Make sure it's exactly right. Make sure it's you. Make sure it's the right time. Make sure it's the right officer, all that kind of stuff. Read the offense listed on the ticket and know what it is exactly you're being charged with. Step 2, research the exact regulation or act you're being charged with breaking. Make sure you understand exactly what it is you're being charged with. Police officer probably won't do that, probably won't know exactly what he's charging you with, may have in fact quoted the wrong regulation or act. If he has, he'll get off because of that. Step 3, understand what the allegation means and how it is measured. Everything you're charged with is measured in some fashion. If it's not measured, then it's not something they can give you a ticket for. They have to measure it. They can't estimate it. They can't just go by feeling. They have to measure these things. Understand how it's measured. Step 4, understand the principles involved better than the cop does. If he's talking about speed, you were speeding, that's pretty common. Understand what kind of radar gun was used. Understand how radar works and doesn't work. Understand that radar takes time and they have to get a consistent reading on you, and they have to visually estimate your speed as well, and they have to match, otherwise it's no good. If you're accelerating or decelerating, they cannot get you for speeding because they don't get a consistent measurement of your speed. If there's lots of cars around, okay, they could have picked up somebody else's car and not yours. You need to understand exactly what the device was that he used, how it works, what its limitations are, better than the cop does. Step 5, bring photos and other evidence you've got and can get to support your case. Photos of the scene, photos of the area, photos of the police while he's doing his radar trap if you can get it. Bring it in triplicate, one for you, one for the police officer, one for the judge. Bring it in a nice, neat, organized file. That'll impress everybody. The police officer won't have any of this stuff. Okay, he'll just be standing there with some notes that he's reading off a piece of paper from a year ago that he doesn't even remember. Step 6, put it all into a neat, organized folder, as I already said. Everything. Just walk up to the desk in the judge's room, the courthouse, and open up your folder and flip through the pages to exactly what you want. Know where it all is. Be very organized. Step 7, most importantly, one of the most important things is review your file completely just before going into the courtroom. Okay, while you're sitting outside the courtroom waiting, go through your file, make sure you know everything that's there, what you're going to say, what your defense is, what happened, where all the documents are, and where the evidence is to support your case, right before you go into the courtroom. Step number 8, Once you get in the courtroom, if the police officer is not there, you are unable to reschedule for a new court date. When the judge asks you, can you reschedule? You say no. I nearly lost my job by having to take time off to come fight this ticket at this time. I cannot ask for any more time off work to fight a ticket. Or whatever reason you want to give. Do not allow the judge to reschedule the event. If you can't reschedule, then the cop loses. Step 9. If the cop shows up, he goes first. He tells his side of the story based on his notes as to what happened. Listen, pay attention, write notes of your own about things you want to contradict, say, question the officer about later, whatever. Step 10. Tear his intelligence apart. The police officer. Okay? Demonstrate that you know better than he does how things operate. Where I live, BC, Canada, you're allowed to actually question the police officer. And you can question him about his certification to operate a radar gun. Ask if he brought it. Ask if he brought the actual certificate. Or whether we're just supposed to take his word for it that he's certified. Ask him how air temperature affects the measurement of speed on a vehicle, and whatever the case might be. If you're pulled over for being too loud, which I get all the time, ask him how the background noise interferes with the measurement of the loudness of a vehicle, or how to operate the actual decimeter that he's got in his hand, and whether it's actually certified for that kind of use. Step 11. Prove that you were not or might not have been doing whatever it is the cop says you were doing. Put some doubt in the judge's mind. Step 12. An important step. Prove that you were not doing what the ticket says. If the ticket is for being too loud and the cop says you were speeding, don't argue with the cop about speeding. Prove what the ticket says, because that's what the judge is there to hear about, what the ticket says. Step 13. Prove you weren't doing what was being accused in as many different ways as you can. Okay, not just one, and thinking that the judge is going to buy that, because the judge might not like that one, but he might like, or she might like some other reason that you give. Prove it in as many different ways as you can. And step 14. Don't argue with the judge, no matter how stupid he or she may be. Believe me, that does not get you anywhere. So that's basically the procedure. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below the video, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. And now, here's a few things that you probably shouldn't say in the courtroom when disputing a ticket. I know I was speeding, but I was in a hurry. I modified my exhaust, but it still meets emissions. I don't remember that. I was way too drunk to see the speedometer. So remember, judges do not determine the truth. They only determine who has the best case. I hope that helps. See you in the next video.